Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the League of Europe YouTube channel for round 10 of Season 3 of Formula 2. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentis. I'll be taking you through Formula 2 proceedings, as always, on a Tuesday night. And as always, joining me on a Tuesday night in the commentary booth today is QVR Daka. Daka, how are you doing, mate?
Thank you, Aidan. I'm doing very well, and yep, as always, looking forward to this one. Round 10 of the championship today comes to you from Spa-Francorchamps in the Ardennes Forest, Belgium. Looking forward to this one. Of course, every other week we have a guest. This one's no exception. We are joined by the American in the Carlin, Mr. Alt Maverick. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Yeah, very good, thank you. So obviously it's interview week, so we've got you in for today. You're currently sitting 8th in the championship at the moment on 106 points, if I remember correctly, off the top of my head. 105 actually, sorry. You're in a really tight battle at the moment with Gary, who's currently running in 9th place in the ART. So obviously we're now at the halfway point in the season. Talk us through how you think the first half of your season's gone.
I mean, honestly, the first half was pretty good. There were the few podiums that I honestly really didn't expect. Most of them came in the sprint race, I believe. But the last two races at Hungary and Silverstone, I kind of just want to forget, and especially Hungary, and kind of just move on. And just the second half of the season is just going to be a reset point for me.
Yeah, now obviously you mentioned the last few rounds haven't quite gone your way. How confident are they you can turn that around and maybe try and move up the championship order, kind of change your fortunes in the next few rounds? So how do you feel, and how do you fancy your chances of turning things around and starting to get back on track?
Honestly, my favorite tracks of the calendar are coming up. Spa and Monza are really two of my favorite tracks. Singapore, Brazil, so a lot of good tracks coming up that I feel like I have a lot of pace at.
It's definitely exciting then for the rest of the season. Just looking at the people around you in the championship as well. Like I said, you're only a point ahead of Gary. There's a few people behind you in the championship as well. Alex and Philippe. Miami as well, a little bit further back in the championship, and then you've got Pease and Chill directly in front of you. Who do you see as your biggest threat in the field?
I'd say Gary. We had the pretty good battle at Austria, and I mean, only being 1 point, it's just whoever finishes ahead is going to take over the 8th place. So, but you know, it's always the Larkin and Toxic and P's always at the front, and everybody else. From about 4th on down, we can all change up positions. So it's just really anybody's game when you get this far back down the grid.
And also, just how does the racing? I asked this question to most guests. How does the racing compare to that on the Formula One divisions that you've raced in? Like, does it, how does it affect things? How's the racing just unique to what you'd expect in the Formula One cars?
I find the racing here a lot. I shouldn't say funner, but it's more fun. The balanced setups and using the same setups always really help with that, because I think the setups do have a lot of influence, and especially in the top division, especially in my division, which is Division 5, setups really have an influence on if you're able to stay close with someone. But here the racing always seems good, and you're always within DRS of someone, unless you're me and you crash and take out half the field like at Hungary, but we move on. We gotta move on from that.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for Maverick joining us in the commentary box once again. We'll let you go just before qualifying starts, obviously, unless Daki, you've got anything else you wanna ask before he goes.
No, nothing more on my end.
Brilliant. That's brilliant then. So again, thank you, Maverick, for joining us in the commentary booth today, and good luck for today. Fingers crossed, everything goes a lot better than it has to in the last 2 rounds.
Yep, thank you guys.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining us.
Yep, see ya.
Well, that was Maverick obviously joining us in the commentary booth today. Thank you to him for joining us for this week's interview. Another 2 weeks' time at the Singapore round will be our next interview, so that will be interesting going into that round. That is going to be something to behold, that race when that comes up in 2 weeks' time. But we'll talk about the present. We'll talk about the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Just before I run through the championship standings, though, Daka, obviously you know my feelings on this track. How do you feel about this track?
It's personal, guys. Don't worry about that. Yeah, well, obviously this track is so iconic in the hearts and minds of many Formula One and in general motorsport fans across the globe. So keep an eye out on that. It's going to be great. Yeah, it's just a wild track. It's got so much elevation change. The setting for it is so unique, and the track, of course, the longest on the calendar, one of the most thrilling as well. I do adore this track. I've got to be honest. On the F1 games, I think my co-commentator may try to express his feelings about that, but anyway, we'll move on. In general, I love this track, and I can't wait to see how it races tonight, though.
Yeah, I'll save the rant for another time. We'll do a League of Europe rant stream at one point, and I'll go off on that at that point. But just Spa in general, in real life, Spa really is one of the most iconic tracks on the calendar. If you talk to any Formula 1 fan, Formula 2 fan, or any fan of motorsport, Spa turns up as one of the top 5 tracks in the world. It is really an iconic circuit. We're just about ready to get going for qualifying today. We've got 90 people in the lobby, so before we get going, we'll run you through the championship standings coming into round 10 of the season, and we're almost really at a reset point in the standings now. So Larkin still leads the way, but Larkin had his equal, in terms of points, Larkin had his equal worst round of the season last time out in Hungary. He is on 326 points coming into this round. There is 6 points between him and Toxic in the championship. He closes the points down after one of his better runs in the more recent races. His best run since Canada, actually. So that was a really good points game for Toxic. There's another 83 points back now to Verstappen in third, who holds on to that place ahead of his Trident teammate Campbell, who is just a further 8 points behind in fourth. Behind them, they've got another 56-point gap, so it is really starting to split really into drivers of 2. Zaldemar and Chill are 5th and 6th in the standings. I nearly got it wrong, but we got there in the end. There's 12 points between those two, and then there's 10 points back to Pease just directly behind. 46 points back to Maverick, who's currently running 8th, and he's a point ahead of Gary, as we said. And currently rounding off the top 10 in the championship is LON Alex in the Virtuosi car. So looking at the standings now, it really kind of has turned into battle packs of 2 or 3 now, hasn't it?
Yeah, you see these kind of pockets forming in terms of the points and gaps that may be getting to look unassailable. Certainly, of course, we've been mentioning the top 2 slowly but surely just breaking away from the rest. But also the 2 Tridents kind of running into a battle of their own. Just a few rounds ago, we were talking about them coming into contact with the likes of Chill, Pease, Zerdema. But now they've managed to kind of make a break of their own with some decent point scoring in the last few rounds, more consistent from those guys. And now you're seeing them enter into their own battle. So it's going to be one to watch. Of course, still, the battle for 5th certainly is going to be one to look out for as well. So much throughout the field, but the field as a whole is beginning to just space out, form into little pockets, and we'll see how those start to unfold as we get into the second half of this Formula 2 season.
Yeah, that's going to be a really, really interesting dynamic to see. We'll see a lot of those people really on track together, so we'll have to wait and see how they play into it. And obviously, we have to see how the reserve drivers and all that play into the field as well. We've got a few drivers on the grid today that haven't raced before. We have Lando back on the grid for the second time, obviously after a really strong round last time out in Hungary. He was really, really on the pace. Started towards the back of the field, but gained numerous amounts of places. I think he started 18th on the grid in Hungary and ended up that race in second place, so he had an amazing result. So he could play a massive part. ISRL Jordan is in for the first time today as well. He is in the Campos car, but we are going to be on board with Freak then for a lap around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. What an iconic track this is. We'll ride on board with him down into Le Source hairpin of turn 1, downhill midway through the corner. It's not, you don't really have to worry about too wide there because it is flat out run now up the hill. We're coming down towards Eau Rouge and then up Radion up to the top of the hill. Here he comes then through that part of the track, keeps it completely flat. Nice and straight line through there so you don't scrub off too much speed. Now down the back straight he comes then up towards the Les Comps chicane, down the Kemmel straight. Look for the braking zone. It's between 150 metres usually. He comes to the braking point, back 75, almost bang on there, down into Les Comps chicane. Not too much curb on the inside, and actually Freak got a little bit unsettled midway through the corner there into the last part of the Les Comps chicane and down towards the downhill right-hander. Really, really easy to lock up a front right tyre here. It's downhill braking zone. The corner seems to now into the corner with no name into this 90 left. Looks fairly easy, but it's actually a lot harder on paper. Onto one of the, if not the most iconic corner on the track. It is Pouon, this double apex left-hander into the corner, down into 5th gear, little bit of mid-corner understeer, but he picks up the car nicely on the exit, has again a little bit of a wobble on traction, but gets away with it. Now coming up to the campus chicane of 13 and 14, Don't hit the curb too much on the inside. They're very, very sensitive. The second part of the chicane is a little bit more forgiving, and now down towards Stavolo, the first of these two right-handers. This 90-degree corner. Again, just missing the apex slightly now, coming up through curve Paul Frey. Usually flat out. In the race, it might not be, just because of how much undersea you can pick up, just as shown there from on board free, because we now come up through this back straight now and on towards Blancham on the fast, flat-out left-hander. Make sure you touch the curb on the inside. Don't run too wide on the outside either. Coming through the corner slightly, but gets away with it. Now into the final bus stop chicane. Toxic at the moment looking at he's going to qualify, but Lando's right up there with him at the moment. Into the final chicane, out of the corner they come. Who's going to be on pole position? It's a terrible exit out of the corner. Toxic is once again on pole position, but the man we were talking last week, man who we predicted to have a good result coming into this one, was Lando, and he's put it on the front row for the first time this season.
And right in the mix this time, we saw him a little bit on the back foot at Hungary. Now the man who electrified the feature race last time out in Hungary has a real chance. But Toxic, on pole position, 4 points, moves him to within 2 of Larkin's championship lead. But look at this, what I'm going to note is that at the longest track on the calendar, what we're seeing is probably one of the closest grids that we've had. The top 9 covered by less than 7/10 of a second round here.
That is incredibly close. Like you say, for a track that's nearly 2 minutes long, it is easily the longest track on the calendar. That is the closest I think we've had the top 10 all season, pretty much. Toxic on pole then, by just under 2/10 over Lando. Championship leader Larkin in third, one of his better qualifyings of the season. Chill in fourth, in the second Primo ahead of Pease fifth. Zaunera in sixth, ahead of Miami in seventh, ahead of both Trident cars. Only 8th and 9th for Verstappen and Campbell. J. Cole rounds off the top 10. Then it's Tim, JD Nolan, Alex, Philippe, Maverick, Jordan, Freak, Ibo, Ryan and Gary. The two drivers only not able to set a time. They disqualified their laps throughout. But big names at the back. Ryan and Gary, who both had good results last time out, are now down at the back of the field.
Yeah, we've seen that those two drivers really pick up and impress, particularly in the last few rounds. And now they're going to have it all to do here today. Feature race is going to be in front of us. Toxic, as per usual as it seems, on that pole position, but arguably now probably has more threats to his dominance in feature races than ever so far this season. He has, a lot of drivers now that are able to consistently get within 2/10 of a second of it, and I'm looking forward to seeing him and Lando go at it. Lando, of course, got involved in incidents in the sprint race. We never really got to see what he could do, so we'll see what he can do against Toxic as we get ready for this one. And a track like Spa, this could be a really good one to watch. Stay tuned.
It really, really could. Yeah, Lando, then this is, like you say, going to be his first real on-track battle with Toxic after missing out with contact right from the start in the sprint race last time out. And we have seen a couple times this season from Toxic that under certain amounts of pressure or in high-pressure situations, he has made mistakes, whether that is spinning or picking up time penalties. It has cost him places before, and that is why he is second in the championship and not leading, because if this championship was based on pace alone, technically you would say that the Toxic should be dominating this championship, but Larkin has not really had any mistakes so far this season, not ones that I can vehemently remember, but Toxic in high pressure situations does seem to crack under pressure.
We have seen so many times this season as well where Toxic has gotten closer and closer to Larkin's championship lead and then threw it all away in one big moment. We'll see if he can overcome those demons this time. We saw it at Zambor and at various other points throughout the season where it looked like he was going to reclaim that championship lead from Larkin, but ultimately failed to do so. This is maybe his best chance yet, and we're going to see now if he can pull it off here on this stage. But of course he has so many threats around him. Larkin looking quicker than usually qualifying. You've seen him sometimes this season, starting at the lower reaches of the top 10 and still getting on the podium. We'll see if he can replicate that on a grander scale this time out. Keep an eye out for the Tridents charging through. Not many drivers on the mediums, but keep an eye on them. They could really make a splash in this race. We'll see. Lower deck track, you wouldn't expect many drivers on the mediums, but some of them going for it. We'll see if they can make it up there in a 13-lap race here at Spa.
Yeah, that's one thing to look out for there on the first lap. It's such a long track around here that you can lose massive amount of time on the opening lap, starting on that harder compounded tyres. And we've seen it, it's a trend really, in the last 4 or 5 rounds or so, that less and less people are going for that alternate strategy. I think just because there's so many people in the field, they don't want to run the risk of picking up front wing damage on the harder compounded tyres, knowing that the soft compound of tyres won't make it to the end of the race. So a lot of people playing it safe. The only people technically not playing it safe then are Campbell and J. Cole 9th and 10th, and Ibo down in 18th place. Everyone else on the soft compound tyres then. So Campbell and J. Cole are going to be the ones to look out for in this race. Can they maintain their spots in the top 10 at the end of the first lap? We've already had P's spin on the formation lap, so just goes to show that this track can catch you out quite easily around here. There's a lot of places to go off the road. And one thing to note as well on that lap one is going to be the run down to the Les Combes chicane. Lando may may not lead down into La Source hairpin, but the run all the way up to Le Comte Chicane is going to be massively crucial for his race.
Yeah, of course, it's probably one of the biggest spectacles on the entire Formula 1 calendar, that run down towards that chicane. It's such a long full throttle zone from the exit of La Source up towards the start of the braking zone for Les Combes, and that's where you're going to see the slipstream and the changes of position. It's a short run down towards turn 1, but arguably that's not the most important phase of the opening of this race. Keep an eye out all the way down to the first sector, because the fortunes for those that are could change so quickly. Toxic on pole position, but I'll hand over to you, Aidan. See if you can hold it for the race. Let's get into this one. Feature race here at Spa. Let's get it underway.
Yeah, just waiting for Ryan and I believe Maverick to line up at the back of the field. That's Gary, sorry, to line up at the back of the field. Then getting ready for the feature race. 13 laps ahead of us. One of the shorter rounds of the season, but the longer track makes for shorter race distance in the end. Toxic and Lando on the front row. Who's going to get the best start into La Source? Who can get the best one out of La Source? Up through Rouge and Radion and down towards the Les Combes chicane. We're getting ready for the lights to come ahead of the drivers. Just waiting for them, and here we go then. Here come the red lights then. 4, 5 lights ahead of them. Who's going to get the best start? The lights are out fairly quickly, and away they go. It's a fairly even start at the front of the field. No one seems to have outdone anyone down towards the Les Source chicane. Actually saying that, Toxic is still down the inside of Lando, sorry, but Chill has made his way past Larkin. Larkin, usually one of the best starters in the field, has had a terrible start. He's dropped behind Pease as well, so Larkin already down to 5th place, looking to try and make up the places. I think there were 4 wide in the top 10. There's still 2 wide. That is Tim and Verstappen. And Verstappen nearly coming into contact with Campbell on the exit of Radion. They're still 2 by 2 down the straight as they now come. They're 3 wide for the lead here. Toxic is side by side with Lando and Chill. Chill's trying to go round the outside of him, and Chill is going to go for... Toxic gets the better run through the second part of Les Combes, and Lando's going to try and make up for it as well. But Chill goes clean around the outside. What an opening lap this has been so far from Chill. Onto it, he can. Chill from 4th on the grid makes his way past Larkin at the start, and with a great move around the outside of Les Combes chicane, he's past Lando as well. It's now a Prema 1-2. Meanwhile, further down the field as well, they're still battling it out. Everyone seems to have got it through cleanly. Jaco and Campbell are going side by side down towards Pouon to be the lead medium runner, but they've held their spots pretty much in 10th and 11th. Actually saying that though, Tim has made a great start in the Uni Virtuosi. He's up to 8th place, so he's flown off the line, but what a start from Chill.
Yeah, and it looked for a moment as if he might even claim the lead. He was around outside of Toxic. Ultimately, his teammate came off best, but he was able to complete the manoeuvre on Lando and just set the Carlin driver back. We'll see if he can make progress. I think Alex has gone off at the back there. His car's ghosted, so I'm not sure if he's actually still in the lobby, but we'll keep an eye out for that one. And looking on the attack at Zainaba now, attacking Larkin right inside now, going for another move on Pease. Looking at Dutchman charging through, and Larkin still in the inside as well. The 3 way down into much worse contact. Round goes Larkin, round goes Pease. Wow, wow, wow. What huge drama here in the opening lap at Spa. We have 2 huge names that have gone off there making contact. Who in their right mind decided to go 3 wide there? In the end, none of them were going to yield. None of them backed out of it, and that's cost 2 huge contenders. Lando and Chill are battling, and Lando gets into that 2nd place, but I'm still getting over that drama. Larkin and Pease coming together. Zonderman was so lucky to get away with it, but we have huge championship news now. Chill up in the lead of this race. Might hold. It is his teammate is back on the attack around the outside of Lando. Down the Campbell Street, they are wheel to wheel. Can Lando hold on to her? Will Chill make the maneuver again into the braking zone? Who'll be braver? Round the outside goes Chill. Can he get this one done? Contact, I think. But Lando has to get out of it. Now Zanua is hounding the rear leg of the Carlin, who tries to power out down towards Ravage. Zanua looks at the inside line, doesn't go for it. Lando holds third. But what drama here in the first lap and a half. Toxic now could have the championship lead in his hands. He's already clear with his main rival stranded at the back of the field now.
Larkin, desperate to try and make up for the poor start, lost another place as Aldemo tried to make it 3 wide at Blanchimont, and there wasn't any room for it. Took him and Pease out of the race, and pretty much out of contention. They're still in the race at the moment, but they're at the back of the field. That is the first proper mistake we've seen from Larkin all season long. He's not made a mistake as of yet, but that was a crucial error. He's now down towards the back of the field. Maverick has had a half spin in Puon. He's now dropped down to 18th place. Peas and Larkin back up to 16th and 17th, but they have got a mountain to climb as Gary, oh my word, having a massive moment coming into Stavallone. It's put him in the gravel. He's going to drop back down. He'd worked his way up to 12th place from the last on the grid. He'd had a great start, but he's now back down to 17th after that moment in the gravel, and he's dropped now well off the back of this queue of cars. That's another place for Peas and Larkin as they try to work their way back through. Amazingly, I don't think either of them have damage, so I think they've just about got away with it. Although, as I say that, Larkin might have a little bit of end plate damage. He does. Larkin has end plate damage. I think Peas is the one with no damage as Toxic sets the fastest lap of the race. He's now 2.5 seconds clear of his teammate out in front. Lando tried to go for a move that wasn't really there, and it's cost him even more time. So while Lando has the pace to maybe challenge for the win, that move with Chill is going to cost him even more, and he's really struggling to try and get back into that second place position.
We mentioned that Toxic had more pressure on him ahead of the feature race than at any other time, but at the moment, he's making full use of the opportunity he has and is running away with things up in the front. Can he hold on to it though? We also have Zaudema coming under a little bit of pressure from Miami 5, but I think he will just stick it behind. We're in a DRS train now, so overtakes will be difficult to come by, but not for Jacob. He breezes past Nolan, as also Total Peas on his recovery, and Larkin on his. He is down the inside now on Freak Frog. Jordan, sorry, they are now wheel to wheel going through Lake Common on the exit. The championship leader is in front, but he's got so much to do now to even get points here in this race. Still chasing down Peas up the road. They are on 13th and 14th. Lando in his recovery now sets on the
Larkin's in the wall.
Oh, QBR Chill Larkin in the wall now. What's happened?
He just spun coming out of the hairpin. He's put the car in the wall. Gary's also crashed out of the race as well, coming down towards the hairpin, and we have a full safety car. Full safety car for that, and Larkin, that has somewhat saved Peas and Larkin's race, as I think Tim has spun behind the safety car at Puon. So from a top 10 position, he's dropped all the way down to 14th, but Larkin, another mistake, spins the car all on his own, puts it in the wall, and that has broken his front wing completely, so he's going to have to come into the pit lane. What on earth has happened to Larkin today? This is not like Larkin we've seen all season long.
This is such an uncharacteristic performance, and now even a slow on the reverse grid, getting up towards the front. That method may well be out the question, and Larkin could be going through with an incredible. He might leave this with no points at all at this rate if he keeps this up. Toxic has a massive opportunity here, but that massive lead that he built up is wiped out. But now, at the end of the lap, these drivers now free to come in for their mandatory pit stop. In comes Toxic, in comes his teammate Chill as well. Is that going to make any sort of difference? It's Campbell that is forced to stay out on those mediums. Has that cost him and his strategy along with Jaco? Everyone else gets essentially a free pit stop, a cheap pit stop to come up to them and then make ground later on. So Campbell and Jaco will leave. It has their strategy, but wildly compromised by that safety car.
Surely it has. We know that this track isn't very high deg, so those medium tyres of the people that have all just pitted are going to be absolutely fine towards the end of the race. Chill is being massively held in the pits here after double stacking with his Premier teammate. He's already dropped behind Zaudema and Miami and Lando, and the tyres haven't even been fitted yet. He's going to drop from what was a net P2. He's back down behind Tim. He's actually back down behind Peas. So he's actually lost so much time that Chill, who should have been 5th in the order, is now 14th. He's lost 9 places in that pit stop.
That is hugely unfortunate for QVR Chill. Can he get any luck in the end? There was no real way around it. If he stays out another lap, he drops all that track position anyway. So really, that's just a hugely unfortunate position to be in for the Prema, and now has to put on a masterclass to get back into contention in this race. Now, one thing of note is that we've got Sir Evo actually has come out between. Oh, he's not come into the pit lane on those mediums and is now between your net race leaders Toxic and Lando, so that could really get in Lando's way. He's going to have to try and dispatch Evo as quickly as possible. Evo now playing a key role now in the lead fight of this battle. Now, of course, Freak Frank is also the other driver, the only driver on the softs that stayed out, and I think that he's missed a real opportunity to come in. We'll see if he can try and make the track position work, but the pit stops are so long in F2 that I really can't see that working out very well. So Toxic still has a good chance of this. He just has to keep it clean now as a car between himself and Lando. See how that all unfolds as we get back to racing. Soon enough, Campbell still leads, but along with Jaco, that strategy of theirs is surely compromised. Toxic still the favourite here.
Yeah, and they were running down at the bottom end of the top 10 anyway, so they weren't exactly scoring great points at that point in the race either, so this is going to massively compromise them as the race goes on. Toxic then will be the net race leader once everyone's made their mandatory pit stop. That will put Lando in second, and that will put Miami in third place. So he's avoided all of the carnage around him, and he's made some good moves. Out of shot, really. We've kind of missed them, but he's made some good moves and is now into a net third place. So he's on for a good result. He picked up his first podium in Division 3 last weekend. So I'm wondering if he's trying to run off the back of that momentum. He's had a lot of good results recently in Formula 2 that has put him in contention for that 8th place in the standings. He's now ahead of Verstappen, who's gained a lot of places after losing a place on the opening lap. He's now into a net 4th, Zaldimer 5th. JD Nolan is now running in a net P6 from 12th on the grid. Here's another person who has gained massively in these pit stops.
Yeah, the order getting wildly shaken up. Miami 5, who started 7th, now running in a net 3rd. Verstappen, who started 8th, now running in a net 4th. After all the carnage and incident and the battling in the first few laps, now we have a wildly different race order ahead of us. We will surely get back to racing on this lap as the field now begins to converge again. Big story of this race has been the utter disaster that Larkin, your championship leader, has gone through. He's now seemingly racing Alex behind the safety car. I think there must have been some good confusion back there. But now, this could be so key. Larkin's championship lead had been gradually cut down and was a slender 2 points ahead of this race after the 4 points that Toxic got for getting pole position in qualifying. And now Toxic on for the race win, barring any mistakes. Larkin will be struggling to try and even get any points away from this. This championship could really swing towards Toxic if he could just stay on the track for the remainder of this race. It's been blown wide open, and maybe finally Toxic can gain a stranglehold in this series.
Yeah, Toxic has not been in the championship lead since Vietnam. Vietnam was the second round of the season. Since then, he's not led the championship, which is crazy to think. He's been so dominant on so many occasions, but he's never quite been able to get back into the championship lead, never been able to build on the momentum that he's given himself. Larkin, the problem is here, he is now kind of running in a net battle for reverse grid pole position, which, based on the people who haven't pitted yet, is now held by Pease, amazingly. After his spin on the first lap, he's a net 8th place after the pit stops. The problem for Larkin here is if he wants to gain places, he's got a lot of fast people in front of him. He's got Maverick, Chill, and Pease as well. They're all very big names to try and pass and battle for this 8th place in this race.
Yeah, that's going to be his. Alex has picked up a penalty. I did mention the confusion that they were having. It seemed like they were going back and forth on this lap, and Alex is the one that's been giving a penalty after all that. But at the end of this lap, we'll get back to racing. Now we have an isolated top 3, or top 4 really, if you can include Evo, that's a little bit detached because of Toxic. We'll see how that unfolds. Lando has got a lot on him now. He's got a second chance of trying to overhaul Toxic in this race, but it will be a tough task. There is no doubt about that. Campbell's going to lead us away. I'll let you take us through it, Aiden, as Campbell will dictate the restart. Where will he go? Will he get a gap and try and make that improbable strategy work out and get him some good points in this race?
Campbell has got to hope for chaos behind him for this to work at this point. We're nearly halfway through this race already, so he would be able to take the softs really from this point, and he goes well before the braking zone for the bus stop, and J. Cole did not react to that whatsoever. He's left J. Cole sleeping really, and Campbell down into the chicane is going to make a move as Ibo and Lando are side by side coming down towards the bus stop, but you can't make a move before the start-finish line, so Lando's a little bit stuck there. Verstappen's trying to get a move on Miami as well. Maverick's picked up a time penalty. Lando, as soon as they pass the start-finish line, is down the inside of Ibo. Verstappen in the background doing the great switch back to the inside of Miami for the corner. Can he get that move stuck? There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Miami gets a better run out the corner. He will have the line for the Eau Rouge Raidillon complex, so he stays just ahead of Verstappen. Ibo dropping backwards in the background. Zaldimer, his teammate's going to try and get up the inside through Eau Rouge, but that's going to compromise him. JD Nolan all the way around the outside and off the track at the top of Raidillon there, trying to avoid Zaldimer. I don't know if that's an illegal overtake. In the background, Philippe and Total Pisa coming with some high speed down this straight, trying to get past as well. Pisa's down the inside of Philippe for the corner. Can he get that one stopped? And down the inside he can. Toxic though picks up a 3-second time penalty. Pease comes into contact with the other Arden. Two Ardens that Pease has come into contact with. He slides back across the track, but the car ghosts, so he just about gets away with it. Pease was running in contention for a reverse grid pole when he comes into contact with the other Arden and is now dropped back down to 18th place, so it's all fallen apart today for Pease. Meanwhile, Toxic is now stuck a little bit behind J. Cole as Freak is now overtaken by Lando down towards P1. Lando moves across ever so slightly in the braking zone. They just about get away with it. Miami's going to work his way down the inside as well, so whatever Lando does, Miami follows him through as well. Verstappen trying to follow him through as well, trying to keep with Miami for that podium spot as Freak far too late on the brakes. Verstappen has to take to the grass to avoid him. JD Nolan caught up in that. The innocent bystander just runs into the back of that, and JD Nolan is out of the race. What a shame for JD Nolan, who could have been fighting for a top 5 place, caught up in someone else's accident, and he's out of the race. That puts Zaldimer back ahead of him, but just a desperate move there from Freak to try and hold track position has ended up with JD Nolan out of the race.
More chaos on this restart. Toxic is looking at Jekyll, but the XL driver sees it off. He's not letting this one go. Zuiderman now attacking Verstappen around the outside towards the bus stop chicane. The two Dutch compatriots going wheel to wheel as Chell making progress. He's side by side with Freak. Verstappen is hanging on by a thread, but he will hang on indeed to maintain that 6th place. But he's lost an awful lot of time thanks to the manoeuvres that we saw from Freak. Further ahead now. We've got Balance Galores. Jekyll still not giving up the fight with Toxic MML. They are wheel to wheel almost, but eventually Toxic has to yield, has to get out of it, and has to try and go again as he picks up the slipstream down the Camel Straight. Going to be to the outside now, down the left. Can he get this one done? They are now side by side, nothing in it. Who's going to be on the brakes later? Down into Lake Cobb. Toxic around the outside will just about get through. Again, Jekyll fighting this tooth and nail, looking for the switchback. Ultimately doesn't come through. Zuiderman out Verstappen. They are fighting it out now as he runs out wide does Verstappen. But he's got momentum on the exit. Look at Chill now, trying to pick his gap through it there. Around the outside goes Verstappen, locks it all up, runs wide, and gives up positions to the pair of them. Through goes Chill now, through goes Zuiderman. Chill on a charge after the pit stops. Verstappen forced into dropping back, has to yield that after the mistake. Now Zuiderman ahead of Chill. Getting held up in the pits now all over him, nearly runs into the back of Zuiderman, and now Verstappen's coming back at him again. They are now almost side by side, but Verstappen backs out of it, lets off, thinks better of it. Chill maintains 7th place. Now Larkin on the attack, Randy outside of 10, and the job is done. He's not out in this fight either. After all the chaos, he's coming back into that. A penalty for Campbell, the race leader. What on earth is going on, and there's battles everywhere at the moment.
Absolutely crazy restart. This is crazier than the actual start. And Chill, where on earth has he come from? This has been an inspired restart from him. He's gained so many places after losing so many in the pit stops. Where has this Chill been all season long? He's absolutely flying at the moment, trying to get past Zaldimer. That battle though between Zaldimer, Verstappen and Chill has meant they're now nearly 4 seconds behind Miami, who has latched on to the back of Lando at the moment. So Miami showing good pace for maybe his first podium of the Formula 2 season as well. Let's see if he can hold on to that. Maverick and Tim are side by side down toward the bus stop chicane, and coming out of it as well, Tim has the inside line for La Source, but then who will get the better run out of the corner and down towards Eau Rouge and Radion? It's a very tight line for Tim through the hairpin. Maverick tries to find his way all the way around the outside of the corner. He doesn't get that good a run off the corner though. Pease trying to capitalise on these two going side by side, but they will slot into line for the Eau Rouge part of the track, and that means that Tim will stay in front of Maverick here, but Maverick looks to get a better run. Pease trying to get past him all the way through the corner, and Maverick has spun. I think there was a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, and Maverick has spun after contact with Pease. Pease is having a nightmare race, and Maverick is the next person to come in contact with Pease. Maverick having trying to break the luck that he's had in the last 2 rounds. It's all fallen apart again for him today. Meanwhile, Larkin, what on earth has this restart been from Larkin? In 2 laps, he's worked his way from 18th to 9th, and he's now only 1 place behind Verstappen.
Really on a charge is Larkin, and at the moment it's hard to keep up with everything, but Lando and Miami both work their way past Jaco. As you mentioned earlier, whatever Lando does, Miami follows, and he's still being a thorn in the Carlin driver's side, staying in that fight, and they are not far away from Toxic, who has now climbed onto the back of Campbell. Don't forget Toxic's penalty. He's not out of the woods just yet. Chell also managed to get his way past Zoudemad, putting the two Dutchmen behind him. What a restart this has been for QVR. Chell and vengeance for getting held up at the pit. What could have had its race have been? He may still manage to get close to the podium if he can keep this progress up. Now Zoudemad under pressure from Verstappen. Philippe is out wide. Coming to Stablo down the inside. Pease is going to go, and he will grab that 10th place. He's now hunting for reverse grid pull, and in fact on net position he may well have it at the moment. I think he is sitting in a net position of 8. Now Zoudemad coming back at Chell to the outside and Toxic attacking Campbell into the pit lane now as Zoudemad just about maintaining Chell just about maintaining that 6th place. Zoudemad cannot quite come out with Verstappen sitting there in the background looking for any opening to try and present itself. Chell just about holding on then, but now two men with DRS on his rear wing. How can he possibly hold on to that? We will see now as they will head down into Eau and up to the radio penalty. Lando, and that's the things wide open. I think your net race leader at this point is Miami. What a twist here at Spa. Now Zoudemad attacking QVR Chell to the outside down the Campbell Straight. I think this time he might just get through now. Verstappen trying to follow through down the inside, but Chell breaks very late. Radius in Lake Com maintains that 5th place. What a battle between these three, back and forth all the time. Now Tem attacking Philippe down the inside. They wheel by and they fight, but who's going to come in on top? Is the Virtuosi or the Arden? They come out of the corner side by side still. My oh my, down into Ravage now. Tem has that inside line. Philippe trying to hang out with momentum, gets squeezed onto the curb. It's not giving it up though. Now through turn 9, gets pinched on the inside, and eventually Tim gets through. There's battles everywhere at the moment. No one can give up here. This is overwhelming at this point. Aiden Toxic still leads. Lando and Toxic now with penalties. Miami in the fight for this one. What a crazy race we've been treated to here.
And Toxic with another penalty. That's his 2nd penalty of the race. 6 seconds added to his time. It was right on the bubble with Miami, but if Miami can just keep within Lando's DRS range and Lando can keep within 3 seconds of Toxic, really, Miami could pick up the race win here. What a result that would be for him, as Pease now picks up a time penalty as well, currently running in 8th place on the road in that reverse grid slot, but he's just over 3 seconds ahead of Tim. Tim could try and steal that reverse grid pole away from Pease here if he can get close enough, but Miami all of a sudden has thrown himself to race winning contention here with both drivers in front of him picking up penalties. It's all dependent now on whether Miami can stick with these guys for the final 4 laps of this race. This massive battle for 4th is still going on. Chill trying to come back, and how powerful was DRS down the Kemmel Straight last lap round. Chill got absolutely swamped, and Chill runs into the back of Zaldama there midway through La Source, compromises his run coming out the corner. Verstappen looks to be in a very good slot here as well. Looks like Chill's trying to get the move done almost towards Eau Rouge, but he's not quite close enough. He has a look down the inside there. He's basically pushing Zaldama up the hill. He's got so much pace, and he's going to go to the outside and have DRS, but Verstappen's going to make it 3 wide down the inside. It's Hacken and Schumacher-esque. Down the inside goes Verstappen. Who's going to break latest? Down into Lecom chicane. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? Is it Verstappen? Is it Chill? Chill holds the outside line. He squeezes Verstappen on the curb, and Chill manages to pull the move off around the outside of Lecom. He gets back up into 4th, and this time round, a lap later, Zaldama is the one that's completely swamped by the power of DRS. He drops 2 places down to 6th.
This is superb! My oh my! They are absolutely fighting tooth and nail over this 4th place there, but Chill now getting the better of it. But with 3.5 laps to go, you suspect that the fortunes will change hands here yet again. Still, the fight between Tim and Philippe rages on, and this time, Tim gets through, as I think Philippe must have made a mistake coming out of Ravage. Has to drop into that 10th place and behind the Univirtuosi car. We'll look ahead though, because I can't turn away from this. But now Toxic 2 penalties, Lando with 1, and Miami with none. This could really throw things wide open. 1.5 seconds between them all. The gaps seem to be increasing between all of them. So at the moment, there seems to be no call on who's going to win this race. Toxic, maybe the unlikely one there. Lando still chasing it. Miami still in it. My oh my, what a fight for the race when it's not over yet. 3 laps to go now in the feature race.
Absolutely brilliant stuff for the battle for the race lead here. Lando is actually slightly closed in on Toxic on that lap. He was about 2/10 faster. So Lando's starting to up the pace, maybe trying to pass Toxic on track. He'll pass him on penalties at this point. Anyway, Miami is losing pace ever so slightly, but he's still just within penalty range of Toxic. But I tell you what, he's nearly dropping out of penalty range of Lando here. So Lando could steal the win here in the dying stages of this race. There's still about a 7/10 buffer for Miami to fall into, but he's losing pace rapidly at this point compared to Lando. go. They're still battling for fourth. Meanwhile, Chill holds on, but Verstappen's only 2 tenths back. Zaldimar's lost a little bit of time on that lap. He's nearly 8 tenths of a second back, so he won't be able to challenge down into Lecom, and he is now being caught by Larkin, who's trying to force his way into this battle as Verstappen goes to the outside line down towards Lecom's chicane, and he's already passed. Once again, DRS incredibly powerful down that straight. Chill can do nothing in his defence, and Verstappen breezes back past up into 4th place. But it looks like the same thing's going to happen on the next lap. Chill looks very fast in the middle part of the lap, so if he can stick close enough to Verstappen, he can do the same thing to Verstappen on the next lap. It just keeps swapping and changing between these 3 drivers. Who on earth is going to finish in 4th place?
It is absolutely impossible to call at this point, Aiden. The battle just continues to ebb and flow, and we will see who can on top. Another penalty for Toxic. That may almost take him out of contention for this one. He still may well leave this feature race with a championship lead, but it may not be. Philippe's now out. Philippe's going out of the corner with no name, I think that is, or going down towards, he must have spun out of it onto the grass and into the wall, and he is now out of things there. And yeah, the Arden now out of this race, unfortunate. He was looking at a top 10 slot, maybe even reverse grab. Oh, Total Pace is out now. Total Pace, where on earth is that? I'm
just
watching
before
Patenti's
Stavolo.
crash just before Stavolo coming out of Lefania. He's now gone out of it there. Another driver claimed by the Spa circuit and a contender for a reverse grid pole. Total Pace now out, and yet another thing to be thrown up in this race. Now Lando's with a DRS of Toxic, 2 laps to go, and it still hangs in the balance. Looks like Lando's your favourite for the race win, but with the race that you've seen so far, who knows what these last 2 laps have in store?
Lando is absolutely flying. He took nearly half a second out of Toxic on the last lap. Toxic starting to feel the pressure. Lando has come alive in the second part of this stint. He's back within DRS range, and that will only allow him to get closer and closer to the back of the Prema driver, who's going to get the better run down towards Lecom. Lando's not going to be close enough down towards the chicane, but how close can he get? It's 8 tenths at the start of the straight. Let's see what the gap is by the time they hit the braking zone for the corner. It looks like it's going to be about down to 6 tenths of a second. It is. So it's another 2 tenths of a second closer. He's closing in on the back of that Prema man. Chill going for a move on Verstappen again, round the outside, coming towards Lecom. He's done this so many times in this race, and again, I think for maybe the 4th time in this race, Chill has gone round the outside of someone at Lecom and he's up back into 4th place. Verstappen drops to 5th, but with 1 lap to go when they cross the line, Verstappen could breeze back past him for 4th and hold it for the end.
And Campbell on the charge as well. He gets past Cyril Jordan. Not a bad debut for Jordan, actually. He's looking... actually, I think that may well actually just be Jordan JT. It's just occurred to me. But anyway, we will continue to move on with things. Campbell actually chasing reverse grab pull as well, but he's got 4 seconds to try and make up on Tim. We'll see if he can pull that one off. I know that Campbell has a penalty. I'm not entirely sure about Tim. The fight for the lead on track is interesting now. It looks as though Toxic has 6 more seconds of penalties. He is not going to be able to take home this race win as it stands, but he will at least try and fight for it on track as Lando has hunted him down to the second half of this race, and now we have a straight fight between these 2 drivers. They've gone back and forth all the way through, and now they are going to duel it out for good at the closing stages here at Spa. Who will win this battle for the lead? Who will win the battle for 4th place? Questions to be answered last lap in what has been a brilliant feature race here at Spa-Francorchamps. Thomas goes to win, but holds the race lead. But look at Lando, the pace he showed. He's now all over the championship contender with less than a lap to go. Can Toxic possibly hold this here? It's Larkin now moving through. He's got past Zerniman now.
He's on his way through. Larkin's made a miraculous recovery in this race to work his way from last up into 6th, and what could have been a massive championship lead for Toxic is going to be much smaller than he would have hoped for, as Lando's going to pass him before the DRS is even open. Lando makes it look easy, and I think for maybe the first time this season, Toxic is overtaken on pure pace by another driver. That is something to behold. Lando flies past Toxic and into the race lead, and Lando at this point in the race, what looked like it could have been such a struggle for him to try and challenge for the win, has absolutely flown in the second part of this stint in this race, which means he's now in the hot seat to win this race. Miami has just dropped too far back to capitalise. He will at least capitalise on Toxic's penalties, what will put him up into 2nd place. And you know what? Verstappen and Chill, if they don't have a penalty, I think Chill doesn't have a penalty, so Chill could steal the podium off his teammate at this rate. He's got such good pace. Zaldemar and Larkin battling for 6th at the moment. They've become detached from this battle for 4th. Verstappen has got got back ahead of Chill like we said he would do on the final lap. He's back ahead. Can Chill get back ahead of Verstappen for P4 somewhere in the latter stages of this lap? Lando then will ride with Lando as he comes into the final sector of this race. What a crazy race this has been so far. Absolutely brilliant stuff as Jaco unfortunately picks up a penalty, but he's currently running in 12th place and it won't affect his result. Here comes Lando then down towards Blanchimont. What a drive it's been from the pair of them, but Toxic once again crumbled under the pressure. What could have been an easy win in the feature race for Toxic has meant that Lando has been able to capitalise, and after a great debut round last time out in Hungary where he showed incredible pace in the feature race to come to second from the back of the grid, Lando has recovered from a poor safety car restart to win the feature race at Spa-Francorchamps. What a drive from the... He will take the race victory ahead of Toxic in second place. Miami's going to come up and cross the line. He will take that second place off of Toxic, and across the line comes Verstappen and Chill. I think they both actually had penalties in the end, and Zaldimer jumps the lot of them. And Larkin picks up a 5-second time penalty for an unserved penalty, which means he obviously sped in the pit lane, which is such a shame for Larkin. He could have gained places on Verstappen and Chill without that, but that means that he will finish in 7th place. Toxic will take the lead of the championship, but the championship lead is nowhere near as big as it could have been coming out of this one. Tim ends up on reverse grid pole position having no penalties. Jordan gets up into 9th. Campbell with those penalties at the end drops to 10th ahead of J. Cole in 11th. Their strategy really fell apart with that safety car coming out. Freak crosses the line in 30th. He will cross the line in 30th. Alex is in 12th in the second Uni Virtuosi. We just wait for Freak, Alt Maverick and Ibo to come up to the line. What a race that was, and Lando with a great recovery after a poor start and a poor safety car restart. Lando had the pace to take the win off of Toxic.
And that is quite telling, and it could be a real thing in store for the rest of the season. We pointed out that Lando was faster than Toxic in the last few laps of the Hungary feature race, and now he's put that pace to the test. Toxic in the end was beaten on pure pace for maybe the first time this season. That is rather momentous, and it wasn't by his championship rival, it was by a relatively new driver in the division. Now that is something to look out for in the future. We'll see, of course, if Larkin can fight back. He will start in the front row and has a chance to reclaim that championship lead and continue the fight. Toxic, I suspect, he will leave this round with a championship lead, but probably not what he hoped for. He's going to have to keep the fight going. What could have turned momentous for him has ended up being a modest game, but we'll see if he can try and make up for it. A long way to go. Toxic, for the first time in a while, will have the championship lead. Now we're going to see if he can hold on to it as we get towards the sprint race coming up next.
And we've seen a number of times this season that Larkin, when he has a poor feature race, by his standards at least, that is, I think, his worst result in a feature race this season for Larkin, a P7. But that means that running on the front row for the sprint race, great opportunity to try and win the sprint race and claw some points back. And we've seen it so many times this season that Larkin is able to recover in the sprint race and win those points back on Toxic. So we'll see if that continues in this one, whether Larkin can try and steal back the championship lead, which isn't as big as it should have been really coming out of that one. It should have been. Honest, I'm amazed Larkin didn't retire from the race after that contact with Pease, but he ended up coming back from 18th to 7th in that safety car restart. Obviously helped by the likes of Ibo, Freak, Campbell and J. Cole not having made their pit stops yet, but an incredible comeback from Larkin to at least score some decent points in the top 10.
We'll see now if he can try and have a mistake-free race. We saw such an uncharacteristic first few laps from Larkin. Now he has an opportunity to try and claw things back and reclaim that championship lead. Now we're seeing the ebbs and flows of a championship battle. Can't wait to see how it all unfolds. But the man of the moment, Lando, what a drive that was. He is your race winner here at Spa Miami 5 as well. A brilliant drive from 7th to 2nd. He can be proud of that one. Toxic has to settle for 3rd in the end. What could have been for him there, but he will still leave us with a championship lead. Zauderer and Verstappen, solid drive. Chill ends up 6th. There what a battle those three had. Larkin does well to recover to 7th ahead of 10 reverse squad pole for him. Jordan and Campbell round out the top 10, and then outside the top 10 you have Jaco, Alex, Freak, Maverick, Ebo are the last of the finishers, and then the men that couldn't quite make the checkered flag. It's a lengthy list. Pease, Philippe, Nolan, Gary and Ryan couldn't see out the race, and they will of course look for better fortunes in the sprint race, which is coming up next. Can't wait for this one. After a thriller of a feature race, this one should be just as exciting. We've seen some amazing sprint races so far this season. Let's hope this one is no exception. An overcast day here for this one. We'll see how it all unfolds. Sprint race coming up this time, and with a very mixed up grid. Who knows who'll come out on top in this one?
This is going to be incredibly interesting, and I think for the first time this season, I believe, Tim, it's his first pole position this season in the sprint race. So congrats to him for getting into that eighth place position, holding off Campbell at the end of the race. Campbell obviously having those penalties, but he managed to hold him off on fresh soft compound tyres, and he comes home with 8th place. Great stuff from him. And like you said, one person that we have to mention that feature race was Miami. What a drive from him to take 2nd place. Obviously didn't pick up any penalties in that race, but that is part of the game. He kept close enough to Toxic to capitalise. He just didn't quite have the pace to keep close enough to Lando at the end, but what a drive from him. His first podium in Formula 2. He'll be very happy with that 2nd place, and that throws him even higher in that battle for 8th in the standings, with Maverick and Gary not finishing in the points in the feature race. That's going to help him out massively. Here we are then for the grid for this one. It is only 9 laps for the feature race, for the sprint race, sorry, so it is a fairly short race, so people are going to have to get their moves done pretty quickly, and it did seem really in the feature race that Les Combs seemed to be really the only overtaking spot.
Yeah, but of course, once you got to Lake Home, you were battling all the way through the lap. But yeah, that was actually one thing. I saw a few moves into the bus stop chicane and into the last source, but really the main overtaking spot is at the end of that long DRS train head to Lake Home. We'll see, of course, if the lead changes hands on this one in the sprint race on the opening lap. Of course, we saw now we have Tim leading away at the front. A bit of an unfamiliar ground for the LON driver. We'll see if he can try and see that one out. JD Nolan, as mentioned, has got himself disqualified for the formation lap. We'll have cold tyres ahead of this one. Of course, mediums for all the drivers this time. It's a straight fight for this race. And yeah, we'll see, of course, how it all unfolds. Tim leads it out. Larkin has a chance to try and reclaim the championship lead. Toxic, we've seen some incredible fights through in the first few laps from him. We'll see now if he can try and make things up. Can't wait for this one. We've got so many top contenders up at the front and a few near the back. We'll see how it all unfolds. Tim, though, on pole position. Can he hold on to it, though, for the 9-lap sprint race?
Absolutely, that's something you're going to have to look out for and wait and see if he can hold on to it. Can Larkin get into the race lead and pull away at the front? Chill now in 3rd, and we saw he had great pace when he was out on his own, at least in the feature race. So Chill was in a prime position to try and pick up a win this season as well. I don't think Chill's won so far this season. He's kind of just been really in the shadow of Toxic all season long. He's had great pace, but it's never quite come together for him. A lot of people at the back of the field as well having to work their way through. Gary and Ryan worked their way through nicely on the first lap of the feature race, but then they both retired very early on. JD Nolan as well caught up in that unfortunate incident, and Pease as well retiring. Pease's run of good form really came to an end last time out in Hungary, and it seems that that run of form has continued into Spa-Francorchamps. And one thing we have to look out for this race start as well is Larkin's race starts as of recently have really dropped. We knew him for making loads of places on the opening lap and getting back towards the front of the field after a poor qualifying, but recently he's really struggled to get that car off the line.
We'll see if his fortunes change then ahead of this one. I think you're going to do the usual handoff to me for this sprint race, so we will see, of course, how this all unfolds then. So Tim is going to guide them round in the Universality with the championship contending Arden alongside, and we'll see how that battle unfolds as we head towards turn 1 and the rest of the lap for the first time here in the sprint race. The back of the grid now beginning to form then. And now we have XL Ryan taking his spot on the back of the grid. We'll see if he can try and make amends for that. The man who impressed in Hungary, can he move his way through? We'll look towards the front of this one though, as Tim grabs that pole position. Will he stay there though for the race? The lights now coming on now. We have 4, 5 lights. And we are away for the sprint race here at Spa there. Tim gets away from the line, gets a good start actually, and may jump clear of Larkin as they head into turn 1 now for the first time. They're all queuing up behind though. Right there, so he goes for Staff and made a brilliant start. He's through. Around his inner Zonova. Lando gets through on Toxic. Toxic not getting away particularly well. He's now wheel to wheel with the man he fought for the win last time in the feature race. Is going to get ahead as they head up. Running on now for the first time in this race. Now Larkin going for the race lead. He's round the outside of Tim as they go parallel down the Campbell Straight there. But Tim, the LON driver, still holds the inside line and Chill attacking as well. Looks towards the inside, backs out of it now. Round the inside goes Larkin now. Going for the race lead. He has the race lead now. Here in this sprint race, he now leads the way in the Arden car. We'll see if he can hold on to it. Toxic now recovering now, getting thrown down. They are now side by side to Campbell now and Lando. They are battling it out now as they go through Revanche there. Through goes Toxic on Zerda, and through goes Campbell on Lando. Around the outside will complete the maneuver on the Carlin, who now drops into the clutches of Miami 5, who followed them through in the last race. We have more fights further down the field. They're all Maverick as well, battling away with Freak Frog as they head into Puon for the first time in this race. Gary's right there as well. We look towards the front though. It's Chill. So close to Tim. Can't quite get through those. Larkin now the race lead. They're trying to run away with it off at the front and try and reclaim that lead. Toxic who now attacks with Sabin almost in towards Stablo. Backs out last minute. But Larkin did what he had to do. Got the start he needed. Get to the race lead. Now he's got to try and hold on to it. Tim holding back. Chill as it seems like now. Chill getting a run. Going down towards Blotchy one. Can he get this one done now? They're going to go wheel to wheel. Who's going to come in front of this one? Verstappen is right there as well. Swinging around the outside. Almost. Wait for the whip. He's going to go around the outside of Blotchy one. Gets through as well. Now Toxic on the attack. Tim is under relentless pressure. Zeno is looking all over his rear wing as well. Down the inside he goes Toxic. He's up in the fourth. They're almost makes contact with Verstappen, but it does get through on Tim. Campbell now's got past Zeno. But what a start this has been. Zeno has made a mistake now. Lando goes through. This is absolute chaos at the moment out there now. An impossible start to try and keep track with. Larkin also race leaving behind. All hell is broke loose there. Lando now ahead of Miami, battling away now behind Campbell, but now Larkin in the race lead. Verstappen now chasing on to Chell. Please take over, Aiden. This has been mayhem so far.
Absolutely crazy start, but Larkin, like you said, did exactly what he had to do. Got the lead early on and has pulled a gap, but here comes Verstappen now on Chill, battling for that second place position. Once again, these two inseparable as Verstappen goes down the inside. Can he pull that move off into the braking zone? Chill once again round the outside of Lecom. He's pulled that move off so many times. It's his signature move. Verstappen still there though for the third part of the Lecom chicane. Can he keep it down the inside? Down towards the hairpin. Just close enough, and Toxic now trying to make it 3 wide into the corner. Chill tries to hold it all the way around the outside. Can he hold it though? I think Verstappen might just have this one on the exit. And does. Chill sticks his nose down the inside for the corner with no name. Verstappen gives him the space. It's contact. Both Prema cars are off the road for Toxic and Chill have both lost parts of their front wing. Championship leader, full safety car for that as well with the damage, and I believe JD Nolan's gone off the road in the background as well. Championship leader with taking the championship lead in the feature race, contact with his teammate. Both Prema cars in the wall, and Toxic now out of contention. He's going to drop to the back of the field with a front wing change while his championship rival leads the race.
The two teammates come together at Prema, and yet again, we saw at the start of the feature race, disaster struck for Larkin, and now in the sprint race, disaster strikes for Toxic, and I think in the end, they were both to blame for their own respective incidents. My oh my, we have seen some of the biggest drama all season, and now Larkin's lead is wiped out, but probably more importantly to him, his championship rival and the defending champion now condemned towards the back of the field. Now, with wing damage, is going to have to come in, is going to have to try and get that changed. Huge drama here at Spa. Larkin with a race lead now has a chance of getting back and grabbing one hand on the trophy almost at this stage. Toxic has to come into the pits. What on earth has happened now? Can he possibly fight back, get back into contention in this race? Or now, he is now the one under pressure, losing a huge chunk of points. Now Larkin has the opportunity to jump into that championship lead.
I think the only silver lining for Toxic here is the fact that the safety car did come out. JD Nolan had a crash at the same time as the two Prema cars crashed into each other, which kind of saved Toxic in a way. Without that safety car, Toxic would have been over half a lap down on the rest of the field, and he wouldn't have made up any places at all. He will at least be allowed to catch back up to the safety car queue and be able to make moves towards the end and try and get back into that top 10 and score points, which he could be able to do at the end. But he's almost very lucky in a way that JD Nolan crashed at the same time. Otherwise, that safety car would not have come out, and that would have been utter disaster for Toxic. He would have dropped right to the back of the field. Ryan and Gary, once again, both had good starts, but got caught up in incidents at the end of the first lap and ended up at the back of the field once again. So their luck just hasn't changed today. They've just really been stuck in the final two places, haven't been able to work their way forwards. Can we also put a note out, though, for Campbell? I think, what was he, 10th on the grid? He's 3rd. What an opening couple laps from Campbell.
That is sensational, you're right in saying that. Up 7 places, he started in 10th. And another word out for Total Peas. He is now up to 7th after starting in 16th, I believe. Oof. So he's really made splashes on that start. And he's back into this one as well. Now can try and turn things around after a mistake-ridden last few races. So now the order really changes up. Tim, of course, probably a bit overwhelmed by all the quality drivers around him. Still running up in 4th place, but will probably come under more pressure. Lando's right there with him. Tim in unpromoted territory, still hanging on in there, but will be surely under all sorts of heat once the safety car peels in, probably at the end of the next lap of this race. So now the two Trident cars, they have not had the best of days. Of course, we've seen Verstappen did fairly decently in the feature race. Now he's got a clear run at Larkin, and don't forget the slipstream going down towards Lake Ob. So the two Trident drivers could really pack a punch in this lead battle. They're not out of it just yet. They are extremely quick drivers in their own right. So Larkin now, that advantage of a few seconds now has been wiped out. He has Verstappen and Campbell breathing down his neck. The race win is far from secure for Larkin 4S. He's got to try and work for this one, just like Toxic did in the feature race. He's got to try and hang on and ensure that he reclaims that championship lead.
He really has, yeah, massive pressure from behind those two Trident cars, and we've seen Campbell, but without that, obviously, horrible strategy that fell for him in the feature race, he's got brilliant pace, it seems, so he could try and maybe pass his teammate and get to the race lead. We've seen Campbell win those sprint races in the past. He's very good at recovering in sprint races, so we'll have to wait and see what he can do. Lando, not the best of starts after winning the feature race, still down in 5th, losing out to Campbell and Toxic at the start. He's not really been able to work his way forwards other than the two Prema cars crashing into each other, and Zaldimer being caught up in an incident as well. So Lando now trying to work his way through at this restart, along with Miami as well. The rest of the top 10, meanwhile, behind Pease is Zaldimer in 8th, ahead of Alex in 9th, and J. Cole rounds off the top 10. Philippe well off the road in the background there at Radion. He just gets back on in front as well. One thing I've noticed though as well is that Toxic, after his pit stop, is now on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, which gives him a massive pace advantage over those mediums, especially in these cooler conditions.
Yeah, he is going to have much more grip, which is going to maybe try and carry him through and get him up towards the top line of the field. So we'll see, of course, how that all unfolds. But yeah, Toxic still has a chance of getting points. We saw it, Zandvoort in the on the sprint race and at various other points throughout the season. His immense ability to come through the field under pressure. Now he's going to do it all again. Try and get up to it. In that Zandvoort race, he went from the back of the grid to second. He now has to get right from the back to the front yet again if he wants to try and stay in this. Larkin leads the way. Toxic will know that, and he will have him in his mind. Gonna try and hunt him down throughout the race. We'll have 5 laps of green flag racing when we get back to it. Larkin leads from the Trident. We'll see how that all unfolds. We'll get back to racing soon. Toxic, though, is going to have it all to do. He's going to have to work his way right through up to the front if he wants to maintain his newfound lead in this championship.
That is going to be fascinating to watch how far Toxic can get up this field. It seems like it could be fairly easy pickings for him, apart from his teammate. And they've obviously already hit each other in this way, so who knows what's going to happen when those two meet each other on track once again. But it's relatively easy pickings for Toxic, I would say, right up until he reaches Zaldimer in 8th place. Then it gets incredibly difficult for Toxic to try and make those moves as quickly as possible. Green flag racing, and only 3 of those are going to have DRS, so that's going to be one thing to look out for as well. He's going to have to make a lot of these moves without the aid of DRS here. So here we go then, the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. Larkin will lead the way for the safety car restart. He's got both Tridents bearing down on him though, both looking very racy, trying to pick up a race win here. Which one of these two is going to be the faster of the two Tridents who's going to try and challenge Larkin for this race victory? Where does Larkin go for the restart as well? We saw last time out that Campbell went well after Blanchimont, but before the bus stop chicane. Does Larkin do the same thing? Does he go earlier? Does he go later? It looks like he's gone now. He's gone just before Blanchimont, so he's gone a little bit earlier than the Trident driver did in the feature race. As he comes now down towards the braking zone for the bus stop, he brakes nicely for the chicane, gets into the corner nicely, and he will hold the lead then as they restart, coming onto lap 5. But Verstappen is right there behind him, ready to pounce if Larkin makes a mistake. As I say that, Verstappen gets a really poor run coming out of bus stop and nearly loses the rear of the car, but he just about holds onto it. Toxic already trying to make moves. I think he's already passed Ibbo as Ibbo drops down to the back of the field after a spin, so he's made his way past him, and he's already going to go for a move on Jordan down into the La Source hairpin as well, but I think he backs off waiting for the chicane, for the straight, sorry. Actually no, he doesn't, he goes to the move anyway. So down at the front of the field though, Larkin holds onto the race lead. It's 0.4 of a second though. Verstappen is very close. How powerful is that slipstream down the back straight? There's no DRS. Can Verstappen close in on him just on pure straight line speed? Verstappen is closing in. He might be close enough to challenge for a move into the chicane, but he's not quite close enough as they get down towards the braking zone. Larkin just about holds on. Lando has passed Tim up into 4th place. Meanwhile, Pease has passed Miami. Is up into 6th place. So Pease up another place in this race, up 10 places from the start and into 6th place. Miami not able to keep with Lando this time round and drops down to 7th place. Zaldimer runs Alex and J. Cole still running in the top 10 at the moment. Toxic already up to 14th place, but he's now directly behind Philippe, and Philippe goes off the road in the background as well, comes back on just ahead of Toxic, but Toxic might have a run down towards Pooh on here. He looks down the inside of the Arden man. Does the Arden man give him space into the corner? Which one of these drivers is going to back out? It's going to be Philippe. He has to back out of the corner. Toxic has the line. Toxic to 13th place, is up 3 places already on this lap, and he's now back directly behind his teammate for 12th place, but still not yet in the points, so we're gonna have to wait and see if he can get back in there. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead though, Larkin only half a second ahead of Verstappen, who's only half a second ahead of Campbell, who's only half a second ahead of Lando.
That is the competitive nature of this division, and Larkin's going to have to try and put up with all of that. Verstappen, if he can just hang on in there, will eventually have the DRS to work with at the end of the next lap, and then can try and hunt him down. He's already just tenths away as they head into the bus stop chicane. Further back down the field, P's charge continues. He is now right outside of Tim in the bus stop chicane. Can he get that one done? I think he may well get through. It's now Tim going around as they try to apply the throttle out of the bus stop chicane, spinning the car, and is now dropped out of contention. The man who did so brilliantly to get onto that pole position for this race has to drop it, and yet it's dropped well out of contention. That's barely disappointing, but I think up at the front, Verstappen must have made an error, because now Campbell is right there with him. Lando's in contention, he's well away from Larkin now, so now Campbell attacking his teammate around the outside now. They're going to go side by side down the Campbell straight, and Lando is tucked underneath as well. So Verstappen trying to hold that inside line. Lando looking, searching for any opening, and he might well get one as Verstappen stalls on the inside. Now they're going to go wheel to wheel, but Verstappen holds the inside line. Will just about get it back into that third place ahead of Lando. Toxic continues to charge. He now is in front of his teammate as now Lando attacking again on Verstappen. Is he down the inside now? And now around the inside through the turn 10. They're going to go side by side again. Out wide goes Lando. There's contact. I think he might have broken his front wing, did Lando. It was a bit laggy on my screen, but maybe Lando's gone into the wall. He's got end-plate damage in that battle for Verstappen. Lando is so driving so brilliantly today, getting into the wall, and now he's going to drop back into the clutches of the cars behind that, free up the tridents and scatter the battle for the race lead. But Lando, after a brilliant round, now makes an error as we got more drama back behind. Philippe's now gone off.
Absolute disaster for Lando. Oh, Pease is off the road. Pease has spun as well, coming down towards Stavolo. He's in the gravel. Somehow he doesn't pick up any damage, but that's him out the wall and broke top of his front left wheel. So Pease is out of the race once again after a great recovery, and our second full safety car of the race. That is the first time we've seen that in a sprint race. A man is going to throw this open once again. Toxic, meanwhile, is in 8th place. He's had an incredible restart from 16th up into 8th place on those soft compound tyres, and that gap that had formed between Miami and Zaldimer in the field that was about 2 and a bit seconds is now completely wiped out, as is Larkin's gap over Campbell. Larkin had a bit of a buffer over Campbell of about a second. That's also gone as well, so once again the field closes back up, and this gives advantage back to Toxic. He's able to gain more places, and up into 8th he's doing just enough at the moment to try and hold on to that championship lead.
So Toxic getting back into this now after disaster struck early on. His teammates also managed to get through into the top 10, and he's not actually made a pit stop yet, so he's got a bit of a tire disadvantage. Not bad going for either of the Premas. Now they line up though behind the safety car. I do hope, as Philippe does come into the pit lane to repair the damage, now he's going to emerge. I do hope we get back to racing. I think we will have to, and then we'll have 2 laps of green flag to round off this race then, and we'll see. It's going to be decisive 2 laps. It does mean though, I believe, that we will not have any DRS for the remainder of this race, which is going to mean that Campbell's task of getting into that race lead and trying to deny Larkin is going to be all the tougher. We'll see now. It also buys Lando some time because he has essentially less laps, where he's going to be looking over his shoulder to try and contend with that front wing damage and maybe still stay in the top 5. We will see, but of course the charge of Toxic cannot be underestimated, and now he has got all the race leaders now in his line of sight yet again, and he's going to try and hunt them down in the remaining 2 laps here at Spa. It could yet well be another roller coaster of emotion in the last 2 laps here at Spa. In the last 4 minutes or so, of this race. Larkin has led the entire time here in this sprint race, but will he hold on to it? Still has the two Dryadens breathing down his neck. He's seen off every challenge so far, but can he see off? Can he see off even more as we get to the end of this one? Larkin leads it, but the race is far from over. Campbell now it is breathing down his neck. Campbell's won a few sprint races this season. Can he win this one? 2 laps to go. We will get back to racing on this lap now. Game on, I say. Campbell and Larkin are going to dispute this restart. Who's going to come out of it ahead? Larkin still leads, but arguably his defensive game is going to have to be as strong as ever, as Campbell now right on his tail and eager for any opportunity to get through.
Here we go then for the safety car restart. One trident failed, so Verstappen had his go, and now it's Campbell's go at Larkin. Which one is Campbell going to be able to make the move where Verstappen couldn't? It all depends on Larkin's restart once again. Where does Larkin go? Does he go at a different point than he did last time? He doesn't want to go at the same spot because he doesn't want Campbell to think that he's going to be going at the same spot, because then Campbell can read him and get a move done, maybe down towards the source, be close enough. He's going to wait a little bit longer as Larkin is waiting until out of Blanchimont. He hasn't gone out of yet. We'll wait and see. He picks up the throttle now. He's gone. So Larkin's gone for the restart, but Campbell has measured it well. He's kept just close enough. Coming down towards the bus stop. Can he keep close enough through La Source? Jordan picks up a 5-second penalty for a collision with Philippe towards the back of the field. Here we go then for lap 8 out of 9. We've got 2 laps to go. No DRS left. We've got contact in the background. Toxic with a 3-second time penalty. So all of those places that he's gained is going to fall away because of that time penalty. Once again, a penalty is going to cost Toxic. Oh, Chill and J. Cole side by side. Is Chill gone for the move? Down the inside he has. We've got a spinner in the background as well. That's Gary, who spun once again. Gary's race today has just fallen apart at every corner. Chill and J. Cole going side by side up Eau Rouge. This is not going to work. Who pulls that one off? Amazingly, they get through there without crashing. And Chill gets the place. There's a yellow flag in sector 1. That is still for Gary's car. Meanwhile, for the lead, Campbell trying to look to the inside, but it's just like a repeat of what happened with Verstappen. He gets within a 1/10 of a second, but it's not close enough into the braking zone. Toxic down the inside of Alex, meanwhile, at the Les Combes chicane. He's made it up into 7th place, but that 3-second time penalty is going to cost him heavily towards the end of this race, unless the people behind him pick up penalties as well. And a half to go, so he's going to have to pull out a massive gap on the drivers behind to not lose places, and he's now got the likes of Zaldimer and Miami in front of him. And competitive drivers, so they're going to be very hard to overtake. Larkin, though, once again for the second time in this race, has been able to see off the challenge of a Trident man, and it now all depends really on the second go for Campbell down that Les Combes straight. If Campbell can't get the move done down that Les Combes straight on the next lap, then I think it might be over for Campbell.
Chill as well getting past Alex, but yes, Campbell is going to have one shot at this if he wants to deny Larkin a race win. He's kept up with it through this lap, and he has piled the pressure on. He now has to try and see it through. Further back now, Lando's front wing damage is finally beginning to tail on him now. Miami 5 attacking him to the outside, down towards Blanchimont, and Campbell is now going Larkin early there. He may go for it already to the outside, and it's game on now for the last lap. Campbell looks around the outside of the bus stop chicane, cannot quite get through, but he'll have another go. Going down the Campbell straight, Verstappen is closing in as well, so keep an eye out. We can all go crazy on the final lap here at Spa. What a night of racing it's been. Well, we have more thrown up for us there. Toxic now going for another move. He's right inside of Zaldimer. Miami down the inside of Lando. They're going to go 2 by 2 back there, wheel to wheel, and it's not over yet, but we'll turn now as Lando gets through on Miami 5. There's Toxic also gets through on Zaldimer. Now can Campbell grab this right in the death? He is pursuing Larkin all the way through. He's seen his teammate fail to get through. Now he has his chance down the inside, heading into Les Combes. He's managed to claim that inside line. Larkin trying to go right inside. He's not giving it up. They're now side by side again, but Campbell has done it. He's got through now. Can he hold on to it there? He parks it, going to the last part of the corner, but Larkin cannot fight back. Can Campbell see this one out then and grab a race victory right at the death here in the sprint race there? Larkin will pursue him. He'll give everything, but can he get the move done now? Campbell did what he needed to do. He stuck close, he piled the pressure on, and he made the move stick. Now his task is just going to be to make it work through half a lap here at Spa. Toxic's chance continues down inside of Lando, and through goes Toxic, and now Zaldimer attacking. He's running the outside now of the Carlin driver. Can he get that one done right inside of Lefania? Now down the inside, yes. Zaldimer now runs 6th. Now this is the climax of the race, the climax of the evening. It's Campbell Now versus Larkin. Larkin a few tenths back. He's going to have to try and make it up now, but he's in that slipstream now. But Campbell has 4.5 tenths in hand. It may well be enough. It might well just about see him out for yet another sprint race victory. Verstappen trying to do everything to distract Larkin to keep him off it. But now the championship contender closes down, but it might not be enough. He cannot quite get up to him there. He's closing, but not closing fast enough. And Campbell, right in the death, right in the last moment, late in the day, comes across the line. Does he hold it? Yes, he does. Campbell, what a victory for the Scotsman. In the end, Miami 5 gets 4, Zerma 5th, Lando 6th, Toxic gets up to 7th, end of Chill 8th, good recovery. Alex ends up in 9th, then Jake outside at the end of the top 10, outside the top 10 has Maverick, Tim, Ryan, Jordan, Philippe, Ebo and Gary. They're still battling actually. Ebo and Gary down towards the chicane. Right outside goes Gary then. This is for last place, but they're still going at it. But Gary just about going to see it through on the inside. Ebo has a better run on exit though. And they're now almost breaking for each other. This is very peculiar. Are they trying to let each other through? This is a gentleman's battle at the end. Who's going to come out top in this one? Ebo actually comes to a dead stop. And Gary refuses to go ahead. What on earth is this? Ebo creeps closer to the line, crawls up to it, refuses to cross it. This is not one of the most entertaining spectacles in racing, but in the end, Ebo will cross the line in front of Gary. Well, that was a rather confusing way to end the evening, but in the end, Campbell, what a way to win it. Gets through on Larkin. The safety car is costing Larkin's chance to be ruining that. Toxic may well stay in that championship lead. Campbell was unlucky with the strategy, but as for that though, he had a fantastic evening and capped it off with a race win in the end.
Campbell won that sprint race with 2 safety cars from 10th on the grid. What a drive from Campbell in that sprint race. I'm utterly shocked though that Larkin didn't even try and defend that move down into Les Combes. He left the inside wide open for Campbell. We know that the outside line does work at Les Combes, but the straight line speed that Campbell had into the corner meant he would have had the momentum anyway. So I'm really surprised as to why Larkin didn't try and defend that move, and that would have probably given him the win if he was able to defend it. But in the end, he has to settle for second place, and I think him settling for second means that Toxic might just hold on to the championship lead coming out of this one with that 7th place finish. It's Campbell that wins then from 10th on the grid and gets the fastest lap to boot as well, I believe. I mean, Toxic, it says Toxic has a faster lap. Actually, it says Lando has a faster lap as well, so Lando might pick up the fastest lap in this one. But Campbell with the race victory ahead of Larkin in 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, a double trident podium. Miami in 4th, another good result for Miami. He's up in 4th from 7th on the grid. He's made good results today. This has definitely been his best Formula 2 weekend so far. Zaldimer in 5th ahead of Lando in 6th. Without that damage, what could have been for him? Toxic in 7th with a penalty and a pit stop. Amazing that he still ended up 7th ahead of Chill in 8th. Alex and Jake round off the top 10. Then it's Maverick, Tim, Ryan, Jordan, Philippe, Ibo and Gary the finishers. Pease, JD Nolan and Freak all did not finish that race. Pease and JD Nolan, 2 good races all falling apart for them there with crashes all by themselves. It seems like what a shame for them, apart from JD Nolan obviously in the feature race getting caught up in that incident earlier on. But what a night of racing it's been, and in the end that championship battle, despite the chaos for both championship challenges in that one, they're still going to be neck and neck coming out of this event.
Yeah, there's going to be just nothing in it, and that's what we love to see. Of course, I can't wait to see how that all unfolds as we're now firmly into the second half of this championship season. Do not go anywhere for the remainder of that season, because it will be thrilling. But yeah, that's going to give an end to this incredible night of racing. That was simply remarkable, Aidan.
Absolutely incredible. Before we finish off today's stream, I'm going to pick you for a driver of the day. Who do you think your driver of the day is today?
You can't do this to me, man. I'm going to say Miami by a very slender margin. I don't think any driver had a perfect night of racing, but I think he was the closest to it. It would be Lando, but ultimately the incident Lando got in near the end, costing him a shot. Yeah, Miami did everything he could in the end, had very good results, 2nd and 4th, I believe, in the races. Great driving from him here tonight, but also Lando drove brilliantly. Verstappen and Campbell also drove very well. So yeah, it was just a great, high-quality night of racing. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Aidan, but yeah, he's my nod for driver of the day.
And I have to agree with you on that one. I think Miami might actually be the top point scorer today, so congrats to him for that one. And that, yeah, great night's racing for him. He avoided all the carnage, kept out of trouble, kept it clean, and had two very, very competitive races to get a second and a fourth. So congrats to him on that one. He's my driver of the day as well. But that is where we're going to end off today's stream today, guys. What another great night of racing it's been in Formula 2. Absolutely brilliant to commentate over. I cannot wait for the rest of this championship battle. We head to Monza next week, which is, well, for some reason, at this track, everyone was incredibly close on pace around the longest track of the calendar. Monza as well is a very, very long track with not that many corners, so I imagine that Monza is going to be another crazy event, and that'll be great to watch. So tune into that one next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Thank you again, Daka, as well, for joining me in the commentary box. It's such a pleasure to commentate alongside you every week. It's great fun. I absolutely enjoy. I love doing it. Thank you as well to Maverick as well for joining us in the commentary booth earlier on for that interview before the race. And thank you to everyone for watching, for taking part, for commenting on the stream. And we will see you again at this time next Tuesday. From myself and Daka, it is thank you very much and goodbye.